going? Mick from Rock Ape Records here. I've got another video that I need to do. I've just felt compelled to do this because, hey, I'm in that sort of mood and we've had a few cool themes lately. www.rockaperecords.com is the website. This is the YouTube channel. So today, if you haven't guessed yet, well, I'm doing a grunge special. So I'm going to kick straight off into this. I've got a decent pile of records here that are all from the era, the grunge era, which was the early 90s. And basically this genre of music came along and killed hair metal, killed it dead overnight. I was there, I saw it. It was probably one of the weirdest things ever to watch music change, just overnight. And it was because of this band here. Nirvana, this is Bleach. This is their first record on a major label. It was on Sub Pop. And yeah, this is a really cool album too. This wasn't when I first heard Nirvana. So in Australia, this sort of wasn't, if there was people that had heard Nirvana in Australia and they'd heard Bleach, they were getting inside info sort of. Basically, this is what everyone heard. This hit like a ton of bricks. It was just like an overnight sensation. Talk about overnight sensations. This album, Nirvana, Nevermind. I remember hearing it for the first time and I was like, what the fuck is this? Because I'd never heard any sort of thing like it. It was just so catchy, so awesome. Such a great record. Really well produced, huge sound. Every song on it is an absolute banger. So yeah, got copies of Nirvana, Nevermind at Rock Ape Records. We're going to start with Nirvana because they are pretty much the biggest band from the grunge era. In Utero, this was the follow-up album. And this was pretty crusty because Nirvana had made their money from that album. And then they did this album. And yeah, Steve Albini helped produce it. And basically it was nowhere near as polished as Nevermind. And this is probably, if you're going to... I ended up being a massive Nirvana fan. And if I ever want to listen to the real Nirvana, I listen to this. Or I listen to Incesticide, which I don't actually have in stock at the moment. I usually do. But yeah, In Utero, Nirvana. Beautiful. This was the Nirvana self-titled. It's like a greatest hits album. It's just called Nirvana, Nirvana. And it had an extra single on it. A couple of extra songs, actually. I think it's called You Know You're Right. Yeah, You Know You're Right was on this. So this was posthumous. This was after Kurt Cobain died. This was basically a greatest hits. And it was pretty much the last thing they ever released. But before they released that, they released this, which was Nirvana Unplugged MTV. This is a massive seller. This would have to be up there with just about within Utero. Not as big as Nevermind, but I sell tons of these. Still hugely popular because it's real chill and it's a cool record. And they do some great covers on it. They do A Man Who Sold the World, Where Were You Last Night? So there's some really... What else is there? Real chilled out, cool versions of Something in the Way. All Apologies. So... there you go, Nirvana, Unplugged in New York. And that's it for Nirvana. And these guys were pretty much the second place getters. Pearl Jam, 10. This came out at the same time as Nevermind. So I remember I had this on cassette and Nevermind on cassette. And I played the shit out of both of them. I love this album. Jeremy, Once, Even Flow. Love that song. Love this album. Timeless. I'll always play that album. Very, very nostalgic for me. And Pearl Jam Versus, this was the follow-up. And this was huge. This had Don't Let Go on it. Don't Go On, Bear. Don't Go On, Bear. And I'm going to just be singing like Eddie Vedder for the rest of this. Not as good. Dissident, WMA, Blood, Rearview Mirror. Love that song. And this is their third album. This is chunky. This is on double vinyl. They did a really good job with this. This is Vitalogy. So it was kind of a little bit of a step away from that. A lot of the bands started off with all similar sounds in the grunge era and then sort of started doing their own. But at the end of the day, they're all rock bands. So whatever. This is Vitalogy, the third record. Double vinyl. Very thick. Feels like it's leather bound. It's all leathery, scaly. I love the job they've done with that. Really cool. Yield, one of Pearl Jam's later albums. It came after those. Those three are like their main three. Those first three. 10 versus Vitalogy. Then everything after that was sort of, I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful and call them samey or anything, but I don't know, they just didn't have as much impact. But they're still going to this day. Their latest album is great. I don't actually have copies at the moment. I wish I did. But yeah, their last 2 albums have been really good. So this is Yield. Boom, boom. I'm not going to bore you too much with these. What's this one? Riot Act. This is a big double vinyl as well. Nice and chunky. This is cool. Pearl Jam Unplugged. A lot of people didn't realise this existed. I was getting these from Germany, so they're a European sort of thing. Pearl Jam Unplugged. And last but not least, these 2. So I'll show them to you both at the same time. Rearview Mirror. These are the greatest hits. Part 1, Part 2. So one of them's kind of rocking, the other one's kind of chill. When you buy it on CD, you get both of them in the one hit. On vinyl, you got to buy them separately. That's just the way it is. There's a lot of songs on these. They're both double vinyls. They're both pretty chunky. So get your hands on them. All right, next. Soundgarden. Another big Seattle band. Chris Cornell, R.I.P. A lot of these guys have died. It sucks. But Super Unknown. I don't have copies of Bad Motor Finger at the moment. I normally do, and some of their even older stuff. But at the moment, Super Unknown, double vinyl. I got that in here. Down on the Upside, double vinyl. Love this record too. Pretty Noose, Rhinosaur, Ty Cobb, Blow Up the Outside. Blow Up the Outside World. Such good songs. Such a good band. Such a good singer. And I love Kim Cahill as well, the guitarist. He sort of adds that dark. Soundgarden were always like a darker, heavier grunge band than all the rest. Kind of Alice in Chains. They're even darker than Alice in Chains. That's why I always liked Soundgarden. King Animal, this was their comeback album from a few years ago, quite a few years ago now. Seems like only yesterday, but they came back with this album. This is actually a really strong album. And then not long after this, Chris Cornell died, unfortunately. So yeah, this is a double vinyl of King Animal. If you haven't heard King Animal by Soundgarden, give it a listen. It's pretty cool. And this is their greatest hits, A-sides. So, and it's got everything on it. I can't read it because it's very dark at the moment. And I don't have my reading glasses on. Alright, so if there was any bands that were going to be in the grunge era in Australia, in the grunge category in Australia, I'd put these guys with it. This is Magic Dirt from Geelong in Australia. Too bad they might be offended by this. It's like, oh, I wouldn't be. Friends in Danger. It just seemed sort of like it went, this was in this era, you know, when everyone was listening to all that sort of stuff, Magic Dirt were pretty big in Australia. That's Friends in Danger. Especially this EP. This was huge. Life Was Better. When I Was a Wetter. So it's got songs like Daddy, Ice, Amoxicillin, Fairy Park, and He-Man. This is a great EP, this one. And I've actually got copies of it in the shop. So, yeah, you know, Australia weren't part of the grunge scene, but we had grungy bands. Magic Dirt were one of them. So, and these guys are awesome. Mudhoney. You can't go grunge without Mudhoney. This is Super Fuzz Big Muff. So, yeah. Consummate grunge sound, Mudhoney. And what do we got here? This is Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge. So, this is a nice double vinyl too. What a really nice reissue that. From Mudhoney. Another band from the grunge era, Sonic Youth. This is Dirty. Good record. These guys are cool. Sonic Youth were just real cool. Too cool for school. So, look at them. Look how cool they are. So, I don't even know what this one's called. Sonic Youth LP, I think it's their first one. So, Thurston Moore and co. These were like, guys were like grunge royalties. So, got bands like Nirvana and that looked up to bands like this. So, when Nirvana blew up and got huge, bands like this profited from it massively. Bands like Sonic Youth, bands like the Melvins that Kurt Cobain loved, they ended up becoming big as well. People started listening to Sonic Youth because, oh, Nirvana said they were cool. I'll go and listen to them. I'm one of those people. I did it too. Boom, boom. I forget what this one's called. It's not self-titled, is it? I can't even read it. What does that say? Washing Machine. There you go. Shows how much of an expert I am. Washing Machine by Sonic Youth on double vinyl. So yeah, they've brought some pretty cool reissues out lately. Sonic Youth. So have this band, Smashing Pumpkins. They've been bringing out a lot of their records. This is Gish. This is their first record, and they've been bringing a lot of their stuff out on like metallic foil covers, and they're kind of premium records. They're not cheap, but I get them in, and people still buy them, even though they are a little bit expensive. They're very nice records. They're nicely done, and they're fantastic records. Gish is a great album. So, Smashing Pumpkins, Gish, yeah, they're grunge. They sure are. Siamese Dream. This one is like really thick, really chunky. So, and it's beautifully presented, these records. So it's really cool that they've brought them out again, reissued them all, and they're all like on this Metallica font lately. Adore is as well, and I think Pisces Iscario as well. So they just keep bringing, and what's that? Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. That's on like 5 or 6 vinyls. It's in a box set. So I don't have anything to show you at the moment. I've sold out. I've had a few in. I keep selling them. Stone Temple Pilots, Core. This was their debut album. What a debut album. Plush. What else? Creep. Oh my God. What else? Cracker Man. Rubber band, rubber band, rubber band. Cracker Man is a woman too. Scott Weiland, R.I.P. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys are dead. Stone Temple Pilots, Purple. Got that in on vinyl. So this is the second record from Stone Temple Pilots. And Stone Temple Pilots, Shangri-La-Di-Da. I think this is like their 5th or 6th record. And their later records are really good too. Like, even if you want to go back and sort of check them out, you'll be like pleasantly surprised. So, you know, I know their first 2 or 3 records are huge, but if you listen to some of their later stuff, they didn't slack off. So, yeah. And this one as well, a lot of people don't know about. MTV Unplugged, Stone Temple Pilots. So, I get these ones from Europe as well. So, come get them. They're at Rock 8. Available on the web store. Okay, this band here was definitely grunge when they started. Silverchair with Frog Stomp. They were grungy little kids, and they were heavily influenced by Pearl Jam, Nirvana, all those bands, and they sounded exactly like it. So it might be a little bit later, but Silverchair are definitely a grunge band. They'd have to be the #1 Australian band if we're going to have a grunge band. It'd be Silverchair. So, Freak Show, doesn't need mention. These guys are multi-platinum records. They're still really popular. I sell them. And then they sort of went a little bit less grunge. They sort of went more commercial sounding with albums like this, Neon Ballroom, and Diorama, Silverchair. So I wouldn't really call that a grunge album, but because I've got the other records here, I'll show you anyway. These bands definitely are grunge. Melvin's Tarantula Heart, this is their latest album. They're still going strong, so I've shown this recently, so I won't go too long on that one, but this one here is their biggest seller. It's an all-time classic. It's got the song Honey Bucket on it, which is just heavy and awesome. So, yeah, Melvin's Houdini. All-time classic, available here at Rock 8 Records. This is one of my favourite Melvin's albums, Stag. It's slow, it's heavy, it's grungy. I love it. It came out in that era too, so check out Melvin's Stag. Heavily influential on Kurt Cobain. Heavily was King Buzzo from the Melvins. This is one of their later albums, Working with God. I'll just show you anyway. So we got it. And I'm down to the last band. There are other records here from that era in the shop. I'm looking across right now at a copy of Hole, Live Through This. I forgot to put it on the pile with Courtney Love. I guess you could call that grunge too, even though it was later. Not really. It was not long after Kurt died that came out, but anyway, it's not on the video. This is Alice in Chains, Facelift. These guys are awesome. They're probably one of the most popular. They're still very, very hugely popular. They've got a massive cult following these days, Alice in Chains. And I noticed that a lot of young people are into Alice in Chains too, probably because they were fucking badass. So, and their songmanship, their musicianship and songwriting skills are just second to none. Jerry Cantrell and Lane Staley with that dual vocal attack. Love it. This is Dirt. This is an anniversary. I think it's around the 30th anniversary. It's on yellow vinyl, this one. Dirt, beautiful. And what else? They've reissued Jar of Flies, which is awesome. This has only come out recently, so how cool is that? You can get Jar of Flies again on vinyl, because it was getting a bit scarce there for a while. And last but not least, this is the last album that Alice in Chains have brought out. It was about 5 years ago, because this is the 5th anniversary of Rain or Fog. So they've kept going. They've got a new singer, Robert Duvall. He's probably been with them 15, 20 years now, so I don't know why I say new singer. He's been with them for ages. But check these later albums out by Alice in Chains too. They're fantastic. Rain or Fog. And yeah, that's about it. Alice in Chains. So that's it for all the grunge records that we got in here. I'm sure there's more poking about. But yeah, I just had a quick dig, did a pile and thought, hey, I'll show you what we got. So yeah, if you're liking this channel, that's awesome. Share it around with your mates, like, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you soon with another video. I'll be looking forward to it. www.rockrecords.com. I think I said that right. Thanks a lot, and see you later. Ow!